See, you have a
Oh,
Texas school that you're targeting here.
I do. And I've been to San Marcos many times. That's where I got a nickname of mine. Cricket Slayer is a name I got many, many moons ago because I was at a party in San Marcos. This is when it was Southwest Texas State University because I'm old. This is before they transitioned to Texas State. And I was at a party with a buddy of mine that I went to school with back in my hometown. And of course, everybody's drinking. We're in some dude's apartment. And randomly, this guy tried to put a cricket down the back of my shirt and freaked me out. Well, it did. It was gross. So I started freaking out, flailing around, and I think I ended up, this is gross, I ended up smashing my back up against a wall and killing this thing. And then he yells across the room, "He's the Cricket Slayer!" And then I used that for my online identity a few times, even now. So that's what I think about when I think of Texas State. Been to a few Bobcats games like Texas State. They're not a good football team. I am laying 21.5 points with the Dukes from James Madison, who are undefeated this season. Chelsea, when is the last time you got to hop aboard the JMU train? Well, now is the time. The Dukes are no joke this year, and the Cats are bad. Texas State wants to throw the ball. That's what they do. It's their bread and butter. They've got to do it against a secondary ranked in the top 20 in all of college football. On the flip side, the Cats have a transfer the Cats have to stop JMU's quarterback, a transfer from Colorado State. His name is Todd Centeio. He is the team's leading rusher, and there are 3 other players on the Dukes roster who have rushed for over 100 yards this season. I don't see any way Texas State slows them down. The Dukes are also 4-1 against the number in their last 5. And, oh, yeah, they beat App State this season. JMU minus 21.5 at home against Texas State.
Well, if you want to watch this epic matchup between Texas State and James Madison and see where Jenks got this epic nickname of the Cricket Slayer, you can watch that one 1:30 this Saturday in Harrisburg tomorrow afternoon.
Pick six. Pick six.
All right, Jenks, I'm doing a top 25 matchup because those are the games that I want to watch. I'm going to go with Wake Forest getting the 7 points against Florida State. Listen, I think this is a case of too many points. What are we doing here? Wake Forest and that offense behind Sam Hartman, who's been amazing, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions so far this season. And sometimes that's the tipping factor, or that's what tipped the scales when it comes to college football. Because when you have an offense that's that dynamic, that can put up, a 45 spot against one of the best teams in college football, put up 45 points against a good Clemson defense. So Florida State, I'm not ready to classify them as a better team here just because they beat LSU by a single missed extra point. I'll take Wake getting a touchdown. Yeah, let's go. Too many points, Jenks.
Chelsea, totally with you here. I absolutely love that Wake offense, and this line has moved towards Wake Forest for a reason. I feel like this is going to be a game that goes down to the final couple possessions of the game. This is way too many points. Wake Forest can score with the best of them. If they can't stop you, doesn't matter. They can outscore you. I'm with you on Wake plus 6.5. The Deacs and Seminoles getting underway on Saturday at 3:30 in Tallahassee.
Pick six. Pick six.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Now we're getting to the big boys. Number 17, Texas A&M at Mississippi State. I'm going under 45 here. The Aggies offense cannot move the football. Doesn't matter who's starting at quarterback for them. Probably going to be Max Johnson again. But now, for an offense that can't move the ball anyway, they're without Anaya Smith at receiver. He is a huge playmaker. Now, the Aggies defense, very good, especially in the secondary. That's where Mike Leach likes to do most of the damage with his passing game. And Mike Leach hates Texas A&M. Absolutely hates them from his time at Texas Tech. This is going to be an ugly, close game. It's going to come down to the final minutes. It's going to absolutely be dominated by defense on both sides of the football. And the under is hit in every single A&M game this season. Smith being out is a huge deal for that offense that is already underperforming. I don't know who's going to win. I don't know who's going to cover, but under 45, Ags and Dogs is the play.
Let me guess, you will be rooting against Texas A&M because you went to Texas. Just a gut feeling.
Correct. That is correct. With every single fiber that I have. Because there's nothing worse than, I always hate when your team, of course Texas, is like they've had some great moments but also disappointed already. So what do you have to do? You have to watch Oklahoma. You have to watch A&M. You have to watch your rivals and root against them. That's what I'll be doing. They've been better than I expected in the past couple weeks. They've grinded their way to a couple of wins. This one will be a grind too.
All right. Well, if you do want to watch the Aggies and the Bulldogs, the kickoff for that one set for 4 p.m. Saturday in Starkville.
Pick six. Pick six.
All right, rolling on with the too many points special. I'm going to go with Kentucky getting 7 points against Ole Miss. I think this is a case where Kentucky continues to be undervalued as well. So far this season, 3-1 against the number, despite being 4-0. The only game in which they didn't cover big favorites last week, in which I think they were kind of sleepwalking through that game against Northern Illinois. The big factor in this one is Kentucky has really been missing a ground game, but they get their best running back here for this one. Chris Rodriguez Jr. returns after being suspended, so I think he's the X factor for a team that already has a really good quarterback in Will Levis, and I think they're really well coached under Bob Stoops. I'll take the road team getting 7 points, a full touchdown, and the SEC. Give me the Wildcats getting 7. I think Ole Miss is good, but still, like I said, Kentucky, give them some damn respect in this conference.
Yeah, I think so too, Chelsea. I got a little worried when I saw this line because when I saw this, I thought, oh, immediately Kentucky. This is way too many points. And whenever I see something like that, I get a little nervous, Nelly. But I'm with you. Kentucky has already been battle tested this season when they went into the swamp in a big game against Florida and won that outright. So I'm with you on the Cats. Grabbing the point. Should be a great battle in the SEC. Kickoff set for noon on Saturday in Oxford.
Pick six. Pick six.
I know this is a morning show, but let's get sexy. I'm talking Pac-12 after dark, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That's my kind of sexy. I love college football, and I love Stanford at number 13, Oregon this week. And the total is set at 64. Is that a monster total? Yes. Is money coming in on the under? Yes. I do not care. I'm going over 64 points. These are two of the worst defenses in the entire country. Stanford ranked 121st overall. Oregon is slightly better. I want to make sure I got this right. My eyes are wilding out from looking at these terrible numbers. Oregon is 106th in the country in total defense. They both stink on defense. Absolutely stink. And offensively, Chelsea, these offenses can move the football. Both teams average more than 6 yards a play. So even though this should be a Ducks blowout, the Cardinals will get theirs. Wait, the total is down to 62.5. Oh, I am on the wrong side here. You know what? I'll take it at 64. I'll take it at 62.5. I don't care. The over is 4-0 in Oregon's last 4 home games. Give me over in Eugene on Saturday night between the Cardinal and the Ducks.
You know what I'm betting on in this one is that you don't stay up to watch the end because it's 11 p.m. kickoff. Jenks, you're normally in bed before the sun goes down. So I think this is one where you're going to be checking your scores and your box scores and your account on Sunday morning. Am I wrong here?
No. Well, here's the thing. I'm early in the week, but on the weekends, it's just the opposite. I flip it. So you can tell how excited I am this morning because I have a ton of coffee in me. The lovely Catherine is back in town. I got plans for the night. I got plans for tomorrow night. So on the weekends, I'm up super late. And then, of course, on the weekdays, because of this show, I'm in bed super early. So I might be up to actually watch this one.
Yeah, I don't think you'll be at home, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you and Bijou will be snuggled up on the couch watching this one go. It's Pac-12 After Dark edition with kickoff set for 11 p.m. tomorrow night.
Pick six. Pick six.
All right, up next for me, I'm going to go with the big boys. Another top 25 matchup here between Arkansas and Alabama. I think my first bit of advice would be to wait until closer to kickoff if you do like Arkansas, like I do. Right now, this line is 17 points. But I would imagine the betting public loves betting on Alabama. But if there's ever a team that can keep it close here, I think it's Arkansas. We've already seen this scenario with Alabama going on the road to Texas, Texas nearly beating them. I'm not saying that's the case, but still, it's a home game for Arkansas. And if anybody can go toe-to-toe with this Alabama team that usually beats up on team in the trenches because their offensive line and their defensive lines are so good, it's Arkansas. They have one of the biggest physically imposing offenses in the nation. Look at KJ Jefferson, one of the biggest quarterbacks in the SEC, a big bruising runner, and a team that has a really good rush attack. Maybe they're stymied by the Crimson Tide here, and I am not going to say that this is probably going to be an outright win, but still, 17 points is a lot. When you're going on the road in the SEC, I feel like these teams just want to get in and out with a win. I know Nick Saban is somebody who screams at his players, even if he's down or, up by 45 points, but still, I think 17 is another case of too many points. So I'm going to go with Arkansas here.
I think that's the right side. The only thing that worries me about Arkansas is that game against Texas A&M, which they probably should have won. They had that, it was just such a bad play by KJ Jefferson, as talented as he is. They had that field goal that went off the top of the upright. Now, I know you can say also, well, maybe Texas A&M earned that victory. They absolutely did. But when you come off a disappointing loss, man, how difficult must it be, even if you're home, to say, God, we probably should have won that game. Oh, great. Number 2, Alabama is coming into town. That's the only thing that gives me pause here.
But there's no pressure. Nobody's expecting them to win. I'm not expecting them to win. I just need them to not lose by more than 17 points, Jenks.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just worried about they come home and they think, we had a chance, which was a huge game. That was a neutral side game at AT&T Stadium, and then they come back and then they get punched in the mouth and they fold. I think you're on the right side, but overall, I'm going to stay away from this one. Kickoff 3:30 tomorrow in the East at Razorback Stadium if you want to watch that bad boy in the SEC, Chelsea.
Yeah, I think the sabotage factor also is Bryce Young could have another Heisman moment and really pad his stats because the talent is certainly there for Alabama.